So we start the Torah once again. So it's very exciting. Avada. The mice is like this. The Mishnah says in Ovois, Ba'asora ma'amorois nivra ha'olam. No, when the Mishnah Rosh Hashanah Daf Lamed Beis says that we need to mention 10 psukim of Malchios, 10 psukim of Zechronis, and 10 psukim of Shofris in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, the Rabbi Yochanan says that these 10 psukim are keneged asara ma'amorois shebahem nivra ha'olam. The Gemara asks, "Hey Ninhu, which are they? Where do they appear? These asara ma'amorois?" And the Gemara says, "Vayomer de Breishis," that it says 10 times in the story of creation, Vayomer, and those are the asara ma'amorois. Asks the Gemara immediately, Tes havu, that there are only 9 Vayomers. So the Gemara says, Breishis nami maimerhu. Breishis is also a maimer. As Rashi explains that in spite of the fact that it doesn't say Vayomer on the Bria of Shomayim, but it says in Tilim, B'dvar Hashem Shomayim nasu. So Breishis nami maimorhu. So l'chorah it's all clear. However, the problem is if you open up the Chumash, you see that in the Parsha of creation, it does say 10 Vayomers. Not only 10, it could be that it even says 11 Vayomers, as we will see. And the question is why the Gemara says there are only 9. So what are the 10 Vayomers? It says Vayomer Elokim Yehi Or, Vayomer Elokim Yehi Rokia, Vayomer Elokim Yikavu Hamayim, Vayomer Elokim Tachi Horetz. The 5th is Vayomer Elokim Yehima Oirois. The 6th is Vayomer Elokim Yishritzu Hamayim. The 7th is Vayomer Elokim Toitzei Horetz. The 8th is Vayomer Elokim Nase Odom. The 9th is Vayomer Elokim Hine Nosati Lochem Es Kol Esev. And the 10th is Vayomer Elokim Loitoi Vayois Odom Levado Yeselo Yeze Kenegdoi. And so Itaka says in the Perikid Rebbe Lezer, Perik Gimel, he says, Basora Mamoris Nivra Oilam, and he lists these 10 Vayomers. So why did the Gemara say that there are only 9? And the Gemara had to say that Bereshis Nami Maimeru. So it would be possible that the Gemara holds that Vayomer Elokim Loi Toiv Hayoisa Adam Levado Yesel Yeze Kenegdoi is not counted. And this could be for one of 2 reasons. One is because in this Vayomer, the Ezer is not yet created. It says Vayomer Elokim Loi Toiv Hayois Adam Levadi Es Eloi Ezer Kenegdoi. So maybe this is not a Vayomer of creation. Another possibility is that this Vayomer appears Kaviyachol as an afterthought. I mean, it appears after the Vayichulu Hashomayim V'Horetz V'Chol Tzavom. Maybe, therefore, it's not considered as one of the Ma'amorois Shebahem Nivra Ha'olam. Actually, the Radal points out, according to one man, the Omar, man was created du partsufin. So the Eze Kenegdoi was really already included in the creation of Nasa Adam. Therefore, it doesn't deserve to be counted as an independent Maimor that it should be one of the Asara Mamoris. I mean, the first reason that I gave is not such a good reason, because the Nase Odom, also that Vayomer, it says Vayomer Elokim Nase Odom B'Tzalmeinu K'Museinu. It's not a Vayomer where man is created through the Vayomer L'chorah. It says Vayomer Elokim Nase Odom B'Tzalmeinu K'Museinu, and the creation is actually in the Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. And nevertheless, it is counted as one of the Ma'amoros. So, Mistama, we don't count the Maimer of Nasa of Esel or Eze Kenegdoi, not because it's still Ese, but because it appears after the Vayichulu Hashamayim V'Oretz V'Chol Tzvom, as the Radal says. And Ba'ofen, that we will say that the Gemara argues with the Pirkei Rebbe Lezer and doesn't count the Vayomer Elokim Loi Toiv Hayois Adam Levado Esel Yeze Kenegdoi, which appears after the Vayichulu, and therefore the Gemara needed to say that Bereshis Nami Maimaru in order to have Asor Mamoris. However, there's still another Vayomer. And that is what it says on the Yom HaShishi, Vayivorech Oisom Elokim, Vayomer Lohem Elokim, Pru'ervu Mulu Asoretz. So that even if the Gemara isn't willing to count the Vayomer of Loi Toive Yoisa Adam Levadli Esel Eze Kenegdoi, there's still 10. However, we see that the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer also doesn't count this Vayomer, because then the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer would have had 11. And in the Biurei Hagra that are in the Mishnayos in Ovis, he says that we don't count the Pru'ervu because this Vayomer is just a bracha. Okay. But often that both the Gemara and the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer do not count the Vayomer of Pru'ervu. And the machlokes between the Gemara and the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer is that the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer counts the Vayomer of the Eze Kenegdoi, and the Gemara that doesn't count the Vayomer of the Eze Kenegdoi had to say that Bereshis Nami Maimaru. Actually, it's noteworthy that in Midrash Chazal it's mavur. In Midrash Chazal it's mavur that the Aseres Hadibrois parallel the Asara Mamoris. Now, just like it seems like there's a machlokes of Bereshis Nami Maimaru, there's also a machlokes Rishonim. If Anochi Hashem Elokecho is one of the Aseres Hadibrois, the Ibn Ezra in Parshas Breishis brings Rishonim that say that Anochi is not one of the Ma'amoros, and the first Maimer is Lo Yelecha. And how do we have 10 Dibrois? How do we have 10 Dibrois? Because we count 2 Loisachmoids. The Loisachmoid of Beis Reyacha and Eshes Reyacha are 2 separate Dibrois. So just like we have a difference of opinion as far as the Bereshis, if it's Nami Maimorhu, we have a difference of opinion if the Anochi is Nami Dibrohu or not. In any case, in the Bereshis Rabbah, there's a Manda Omar that doesn't count the Vayomer of Hine Nosati Lochem Es Kol Esev Zoirei Azera Lochem Yelochlo. In other words, we see that both the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer and L'chora the Gemara discount this Vayomer. But in the Bereshis Rabbah, there's a Manda Omar that doesn't count this Vayomer, and L'chora, that's very move on, because in the Vayomer of Hine Nosati Lochem Es Kol Zera Kol Esev Zoreya Zera, L'chora, there's no Yetzira, there's no Bria, there's no creation. It's nothing more than a notification. Maybe it's a permission, it's an Asinas Rishus to eat the Tzomeach. But what's the creation over here? So how come the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer counts this as one of the Asara Mamoris? Actually, in the Gemara, it doesn't say what Asara Mamoris are. We could say that the Gemara Taka doesn't count this Vayomer and does count the Eze Kenegdoi Vayomer. But the Goyen, for some reason, says that the Gemara does count the Eze Kenegdoi Vayomer and doesn't count, does count this Vayomer and does count the Vayomer of the Esev Zoirei Azera Lochem Yeh Lo'ochlo, and doesn't count the Vayomer of the Eze Kenegdoi. We don't know where he knows that from, but in the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer it's mafurish that we do count the Hine Nosati Lochem Es Kol Esev Zoirei Azera.
Doesn't it go on Bereshis is the Bria of Zman?
That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, so I don't know if this is the Zman to discuss that, but because if you understand that Zman is a creation, you have to cherish it and know that it has its parameters. But I'm talking about another Nakuda. So the question is, what's the pshatake that the Vayomer of Hine Nosati Lochem Es Kol Esev Zoirei Azera is considered a Maimer Sheboy Nivra Ha'olam. L'chora, nothing is Nivra with this Maimer. So the Radal, in his commentary on the Pirkei Rebbe Eliezer, says, Uman Dechoshiv Le Soiver the Ksiv Vayihi Chen. the conclusion of this pasuk is Vayehi Chain, and so it was. Mashma shenes have havaye al yedei maimer zeh. So it seems like something was created. V'hainu shenosan b'teva hatzmochim sheyaspiku mozoin l'chol hachayim, that he gave into the teva of the tzoymeach, that it should produce, it should provide nutrition l'kol hachayim u'b'teva hachayim shoyezoinu b'kach, and in the teva of the chai, that the chai gets nutrition from the tzmochim. So this maimer actually created the interdependence of the bruin. The tzmochim give nutrition, and man and all balei chayim need the nutrition. So the tzmochim and the min hachai existed before, but now what was created was the dependence, and that's takeshayich to the ikir nivra ha'olam. You know, in the bracha of Boirei Nefoshois Rabbis, we say Boirei Nefoshois Rabbis v'chesroinon al kol mashe barosa lahachyois behen nefesh kol chai. I mean, you can say this many times a day, but what exactly do the words mean? Tosfos in Brachas Daf Lamed Zayin says that v'chesroinon means kigoin lechem umayim shi'i efshe b'liheim, means that Boirei Nefoshes Rabbis, and he created v'chesroinon, he created the things that they need. He created the things that they need. Kigoin lechem umayim, and al kol mashe baroso lahachyois b'hem nefesh kol chai. Zok Tosfos al kol mashe ba'olam shegam im loy beraom Yechoylin lichyois beloy heim. Sheloi beraam elo letainug ba'alme. Kegoin tapuchim v'kayoytz behem. So Tosfos says, Kol mashibarasa, that's things that we don't need. It's letainug ba'alme. Chesroinon is that he created things that we need. That is Tosfos' reading of this bracha. But the Rashba in a tshuva, Siman Kuf Mem Tes, teaches the bracha Andish. The Rashba teaches Boirei Nefoshes Rabbos v'chesroinon, that he created nefoshes with their needs. He created nefoshes that are needy, that they need. Kol mashe barosa lahachis behem nefesh kol chai. And the Rashba explains that that's why the Gemara refers to the bracha of Boirei Nefoshes as v'loi klum. The Gemara says, Einem avarach v'loi klum, and we say that really you make a Boirei Nefoshes. So the Rashba says, why is it called v'loi klum? Because in this bracha we actually don't thank for the thing that we're eating. We thank for the fact that we are needy. Boirei Nefoshes Rabbis v'chesroinon, zog the Rashba, means he created Nefoshes Rabbis with their needs. So you see that our needs are something that we need to be thankful for. We thank Hashem for creating us in a needy mode, in a way that we need. And that's like the pasuk says in Tehillim, Hakfirim, the young lions, shoyagim lateref, ulevakesh mikael ochlam. So the neediness of the min hachai creates a relationship with the Creator. If the chai wouldn't have needs and he would be able to take care of himself, he wouldn't become aware of the divine presence. So the maimer of Vayomer Elokim Hinei Nosati Lochem, as Kol Esev Zoyrei Azera, Lochem Yeh Lo'achlo, L'Kol Chayes Oretz, L'Cholof HaShomayim, as Kol Esev Lo'achlo, Vayihi Chein. With this maimer, there was a nivra ha'olam of neediness, the nivra ha'olam of chisaron. You know, on the pasuk, Loi Toiv Hayois Ha'adam Levadoi, Es Eloi, Ezer Kenegdoi, Rashi says, Shelo yoimru shtei reshu yosein HaKadosh Baruch Hu yochid be'elyonim ve'ein lo zug v'zeh b'tachtoinim ve'ein lo zug. In other words, why is it loy toiv hayois adam levadei? Actually, why is it not good for man to be alone? Because if you would be alone, then they would say that there are two domains. I mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a yochid be'elyonim and man is a yochid b'tachtoinim. I mean, so this is Rashi who promises us in the beginning of the Parsha, Ani loy basi elo lepshuto shel mikra, that I just explained Pashat Pshat. Pashat Pshat. And Rashi couldn't think of any reason why it's not good for man to be alone. The only thing he could think of is because if he would be, then he would be, would consider himself a yochid b'tachtoinim, and it would come to the kfira of shtei reshuyos thing. Not only is it surprising that Rashi says this in Pshuto Shel Mikra, it seems like the Gemara says the Pashut Pshat, because if you look in the Gemara, Yevomis Daf Samach Gimel Amud Aleph, it says Ashkechei Reb Yosi leEliyahu, and he said to him, Ksiv Eseloi Ezer, asked Reb Yosi, B'ma Isha Oizrasei La'adam. See, Reb Yosi was wondering, how does a woman help a man? And he needed Eliyahu Hanavi to explain that. But what did Eliyahu tell him? He said to him very pashut. Adam mevi chitim min ashuk. B'chi chitin koises. A person brings wheat from the shuk. Does he bite on the chitin? Pishton. He brings flax. B'chi pishton loivesh. Does he wear the flax as is? Haloi meira es einov umami dosay al raglov. Don't you see that it's the woman that makes the chitin into bread? She makes the pishton into begodim. I mean, it takes a village, at least it takes a family. I mean, to get it together. So we have a pashut pshat in the Ezek Kenegdoi. So why does Rashi have to invent this abstract theological reason for loy toiv hayois adam levadoi shelo yoimru hu yochid be'elyonim v'hu yochid b'tachtoinim? But the emes is that in the pasuk, it doesn't say loy toiv le'adam hayoisoi levadoi. It doesn't say that it's not good for man that he should be himself, which would mean that he needs help, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu therefore created a helper for him. It doesn't say that. It says loy toiv hayois adam levadoi, which means that it's be'etzem loy toiv. Not it's not good for him. It's not good. It's not subjectively not good. It's objectively not good that man should be alone. And it must be so, because if we would be talking about his own interests and needs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have created man in a way that it's toiv hayoisei levadoi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created man, and he created him in a way that it's loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi. Why? So it must be that the loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi is not because of his needs, but it's because for the tachlis habriya, man had to be created in this way that it should be loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi. Because, and that's what Rashi says, that if he would be someone that's self-sufficient, he would become self-absorbed. He would consider himself a yochid b'tachtoinim ve'ein lo zug. He would never meet his creator. So Hashem created man in a way that it should be loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi. The Gemara is talking about something else. I mean, what Rabbi Yossi asked Eliyahu was, B'ma isha oizrasei la'adam. In other words, how is she an Ezek Kenegdoi? And the answer is, yeah, Adam mevi chitim en ashuk, klum chitin koises, pishton, klum, pishton loivesh. That's the answer to the question of how is she an Ezer Kenegdoi? But that doesn't deal with the principal question of why loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi. Rashi deals with that principal question. And Rashi says, loy toiv hayoisei adam levadoi, because if it would be toiv hayoisei adam levadoi, then he would consider himself a yochid betachtoinim, and he would not meet the Rabbeinu Shalom. So man has to be created in a way that he's needy, in order that he should be forced out of the shell of his self and his selfishness. Only then is there hope that he would find the Rabbeinu Shalom. You know, the Nochosh separated between Adam and Chava. It says Hanochosh Hisi Ani, which Pashtus means the Nochosh deceived me, Chava says. But Chazal also darshan it in terms of Hishiani, a loshon of Nisuin, In any case, the Nachash created the illusion that Chava doesn't need Adam, and also that Adam Memela doesn't need Chava, as we see that as a consequence of the Chet Eitz Adas, Adam Arishan says, "Ha'isha asher nosata imadihi nosna li min ha'etz va'oichal," and Chazal say, Rashi brings it, that what? That he blamed her, kan kofar betoiva. Kofar betoiva, meaning that now Adam Arishan is saying, what do I need a wife for? I mean, it's all her fault. So Adam Arishan is being kofar betoiva, meaning what's the toiva? The toiva is because like toiva yois Adam levadoi. The toiva is that he should have an Ezek Kenegda, and he's kofar betoiva. He is now now considers himself self-sufficient. So, being that the Nachash brought about this pgam and this kilkul, what happens is that the Nachash is cursed. What's the curse of the Nachash? V'ofar toichal kol yemei chayecha. You should eat offer. The Gemara in Yoima says, Dafai Hamid Aleph, Tanya, Amar Reb Yosi, Boyu Re'eh, Shaloi can midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu midas basa v'dam. That the Rebbeinu Shalom does not punish the way basar v'dam's punish, because midas basar v'dam maknit es chaveiro yoredim el chayev. It'll destroy him completely. Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu ein kain kilei les hanochosh. No. Oila legag mizaynoy savimoy yored lamata mizaynoy savimoy. The curse is not should be curse. What happens is that the Nachash has food wherever he goes. No, oy bazoy. So he asks the Rebbe Rabbeinu Mipshischa, oy bazoy. I mean, it's really a blessing because the Nachash now he has his food wherever he is. He's toyim in offer the time of Kol HaMadanim Sheba'olam, so there's no curse at all. So said the Rebbe Rabbeinu Mipshischa that that's the greatest curse that he always has. He never needs. He never needs. Not to need is a curse because kfirim shoyagim leteref ulevakesh mikel ochlam. The young lions are hungry. They need their prey. So they pray. But the Nachash, he has everything he needs, and Mamela, he never turns to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So it's the Nachash that tried to cause Chava and Adam to perceive themselves as self-sufficient, as not needing each other. His einish is mida keneged mida, that he taka, the level of his needs were decreased, and he has his mezainis wherever he is, because having everything is a curse. Thinking that you're self-sufficient, it causes you to become self-absorbed and doesn't allow you to have a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's through one's relationship with a spouse that one opens up to having a relationship with the Rebbeinu Shalom. As we know, ish v'isha, shchina shruya beineihem. It doesn't say that the ish on his own or the isha on her own could access hashras hashchina, but it's ish v'isha. The shchina is beineihem because it's at the point that you exit yourself and she exits herself. When you free yourselves of your selfishness and your sense of self, that's where you meet the Creator. And Memela, the maimor of Kol Zera Zorei Azera, L'chem Yeh La'ochlo, is a maimor sheboi nivra ha'olam. It's a maimor that created dependence, that created the v'chesroinon, and the loy toiv hayois adam levadoi es lo yezek kenegdoi is again this inyan. So we have to just remember that if we feel like we have everything, I mean we're actually we're actually stooping down to the level of the Nachash. And we should be thankful for every need we have, whether our prayers are answered or not answered. That's another thing. But like it says, Ahafti ki yishma Hashem es koili tachanunoi. Yeah. Ki hita oznoi li. Uviyomai ekra. I mean, I love it when Hashem hears, and in other words, and accepts and answers my prayers. But the main thing is that Hita Oznoi Li. Hashem listens to my prayers. I have a relationship with the Rabbeinu Shalom. Hita Oznoi Li, and therefore B'yomai Ekra. Rabbi Say, I wish you all Guten Shabbos Breishis, and we should be zoiche to move forward, onward and forward.